I'm here today with Karen, who is one of the members of the full mastermind group. Karen, what do you do?
I'm an accountant at McGinty DMAX in Standish.
Brilliant. And what are we here to talk about today, Karen?
We've developed a piece of software called ReviewIT Accounts, which is designed to look at a review process and a training process for new starters, trainees within accountancy practice.
Excellent. And how did that develop? What's the background, Karen?
My practice manager went off on long-term sick in January 2021, which left me back doing reviews. And after a very short period of time, I got fed up of asking the same question: where is the wages control? Where is the VAT reconciliation? And just thought there's got to be a better way of doing this that benefits the practice and also the employees within the practice.
Brilliant. Thank you. And I've had a sneak peek and a couple of plays with it, so I've got a bit of an idea of how it works. But in order for the people watching to get a feel for it, Karen, can you give us a quick demo and show us what the idea is and how it works, please?
Yeah, no problem at all. I've done it as a video recording, and I thought the best place to start is probably to start at the end. If we start at the end, then basically we can see what we're getting out of it. So the aim of this is to produce a review for a profit and loss, a balance sheet, a very simple tax review, and then a final checklist. And basically the process creates a PDF that we can put on file that shows that all the relevant work and checks have been done. And it also provides an audit trail of who's reviewed the job and that the job has been completed to the required standard. So that's your PDF. We'll now have a quick look at how we actually do the review.
So Karen, just to interrupt you, when is that PDF, is that on the system? Is it stored in the cloud somewhere, or does it get emailed to the reviewer? How does that work?
It's in the actual system itself. So this is your system when you log in, as you can see on the screen in front of you here. And within each of these sections is a checklist of jobs that have been reviewed. And when you click into those jobs, the PDF can be generated as part and parcel of that review process. There is a dashboard at the start that shows how many jobs have been done, what process they're up to in review stage, and whether they're completed work. Right, but this is your actual completion of a form. I thought it would be easier to show you this way around rather than show you the setup first, because obviously this is what it does rather than sort of the process of setting up. All right.
Brilliant. Yeah. So when that PDF is generated, Karen, just so I'm clear, the PDF is generated. Can I download it out of the system? So we use an Excel workbook, for example.
Yeah, you can download that.
Okay. Brilliant. Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, so this is creating your first balance sheet form. All the forms are created in the same way, but here we're showing a balance sheet review that's completed. So enter the client's name and the year-end date. That can be done by selecting a specific date or by just typing the date in, whichever is the most convenient. We've then got a series of interactive questions which all have various outcomes dependent on what is actually put into it. So this one is, have all outstanding queries and notes been discussed with the client? If no, we would expect to see a reason in here. There is then a section on the whole of the checklist for each what we class as balance sheet item. So here we're looking at bank and cash and your actual bank reconciliation. I think it's important to remember that this is aimed at sort of people starting and people working through accounts, because I think everybody, although they know the process, sometimes forget to follow the process so that actually everything's on file. We've also found that it aids people who are new to review as well as to actually completing accounts. So the sections for wages, sections for VAT, fixed assets, and all the different sections. So you can see here, we're just completing information here to show that the, depending on what option you put in, then this obviously gives you a decided result. We've built into it the business entity, so there's different sets of questions if it's a limited company or if it's a sole trader or partnership, because obviously you would expect different schedules and different types of work to have been done. There is the option, once you get to the review process, for the staff member to alter these dependent on how the person who does the review looks at the job and reviews what needs to be done. I would say the forms themselves probably take probably about 7 minutes to complete. The P&L form is slightly different, and that's probably shorter. So this is really based on a balance sheet review. The P&L form looks at things like gross profit variances and profit and loss variances. And as you'll see in the setup, which I'll show later, each practice can set their own tolerance levels for variance dependent on what the practice has set as they want to look into. The profit and loss form also deals with looking at income verification. The form itself has notes section here that you can put on for review, and also planning action points for client, which can be used to obviously update the client. Reviewer is specified, we'll come back to that. And you should see the error came up then on the checklist. The form knows if a staff member hasn't completed something correctly. And in this instance, if we scroll down, they haven't put a planning or action point in. So each section has to be completed for the actual form to be submitted. If there is no planning or action point, then the staff member can put everything okay. So that will then show, once that's corrected, that the balance sheet review is correct and that it has been sent to an individual for review. You'll also see there on the screen that shows the forms there, and you've got a progress bar with an arrow in it. Once the process is fully complete, that actually changes to a tick. The next stage from here is to look at the review process. Simon, have you any queries on that?
Not at the moment, Karen. There's just one thing. Can I add questions to it?
At this stage, no. That is something that we're looking at adding in. So we wanted to get something that was up and working, and then we would look at the possibility then of having a bespoke section, which you'll see in the setup section when we come to it later, where you'll be able to add in specific questions if you want them into your templates.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you.
So we've got to the stage now where somebody has completed a form and it's gone to a reviewer. This is your initial dashboard, if we see here, which shows the forms that have been done. So if you can see here, we've done one balance sheet form and it's gone for review. So we can see where the forms are up to. You can also filter on the form. So if you've got a number of reviewers, if you've 5, 6 staff who are reviewing, obviously at some point you're going to get quite a long list of forms, but you can filter those and that will filter the ones that you've got to review. You can see here that I've asked somebody to review this form for me. This has got all the questions and answers that we've got on there. The way we use this is that we would use these sheets along with the actual physical accounts. So we would review the sheets and review the trial balance to see whether any changes need to be made. You can approve the form or you can request changes. So in this specific answer here, if you remember from the first one, the staff member hadn't spoke to the client about clearing the queries with them. So as a reviewer, we've gone back and said, make sure you clear the queries with the client before finalising the job. That form then goes back to that individual as part and parcel of the overall review to say that there's work needs doing on it and the job is not complete. We're seeing here that also on the forms, there's an audit trail of the changes that have been requested. Sorry, it's zooming up and down a bit, but it's the only way really to show it. So here, this process you wouldn't see because each person would be either logged on as a reviewer or they'd be logged on as a completion of the form. And I'm just showing here, just switching between 2 members of staff and showing the difference. So this is David Richardson's requested changes to the form. So now the queries are clear queries with the client. So the staff member originally put client on holiday. So now this staff member's updating this form and saying they spoke to the client and cleared the queries, and going back and saying, please approve the form for me. And the process is then repeated. You get an audit trail on each page to show what changes have been requested and whether they've been done. That will then go back to the reviewer again for one final check where the form would be approved, and the PDF is then created at that stage to actually put onto the file. So we're just logging back in here as the staff member. And this time you can see the changes, that any changes have been requested will be shown on the bottom. This time we're going to approve it because we know the changes have been done as requested. You can put your comments on, job well done, or whatever comments you wish to place on that. They'll appear on the top of the PDF when it's created. This form then is now your final form, which ultimately goes back to the person who's done the job in the first place so that they can download the PDF and save it on the file. And there's your form that we saw at the start. So that's basically your process through of creating the form. So you can create a form for balance sheet review, a form for profit and loss review, and a form for tax review. And then there's just a final checklist in there as well. As part and parcel of the process, it does create email reminders. So at each of those stages there where the form is completed, it will go to the reviewer as a message to say, Karen's requested you review the balance sheet form for dummy company. And on each process, each individual will get a reminder to say that the review has been done. So you're getting an update and a verification as well. These other notifications are here to do with the initial setup when you actually set up as a user on the system in the first place. And that's basically your process, Simon.
Brilliant, thank you. I'd got a note on the email notification, so I'm pleased you covered that one off. So the profit and loss account one, Karen, and not the profit and loss account, the tax one you said was a pretty basic tax one. What sort of things does the tax one cover?
It's covering basic things like are there losses? Have you used the losses properly? Have you disallowed items? So it's looking at a trainee who might be doing sort of basic tax returns for the first purpose. It's not designed at all to be a comprehensive tax review at this stage. I mean, obviously that's something that further down the line we may expand it to do that. So it looks at disallowance, it looks at claiming capital allowances, looks at claiming super deduction, have loss relief been claimed and utilised, and obviously the difference between the limited company and sole trader claims. And your general checkpoints from that point of view, and whether obviously a copy of the draft computation has been put on the file. Yeah.
Thank you. And then on the dashboard, one of the members asked if it's possible to count the number of review points. So when you when the person that was preparing the accounts filled it out and then it got reviewed and it had to go back to them.
Yeah.
Is there a way of
at the bottom of the form. So when you print the PDF, the review points are not on the form because that's your completed form, but the actual reviews are retained on the system so that when you log back into that client, at the bottom is an audit trail of all the reviews that have been requested so that you can see the type of errors that they've made, and obviously they can use them for the training point of view. At this stage, we haven't done that so that that's a download. It's mainly there just for information purposes, but there's no reason why that at some point couldn't be extracted and used as a training mechanism to sort of for training reviews, basically for the employees.
Yeah, either across the whole team or the individual team member if they're continually not doing the wages control account, for argument's sake, properly. Okay, thank you. And then does it link to any other software, Karen?
Not at the moment, no. We've designed it purely as a standalone, mainly from a point of view that it is quite bespoke in the fact that it's used as a checklist, so it's a review process and not really intended to interlink anywhere, really. I mean, the only thing is if we've obviously created the PDF download, which you can then put on each client's file to show that you've got a checklist of everything being done as it should be done. But there's no reason why we can't look at that, but it's a bit beyond my pay grade from a
yeah. As you just said, I'm sort of struggling to find a reason as to why it would need to link to some software other than potentially that PDF automatically going into a piece of working paper software, for argument's sake, or being saved in a DocuServe or something like that, a client portal. But I'm not sure why you'd want to do that even. But anyway, okay. And then how easy is it to set up, Karen? How long does it take?
It's dead easy, actually. I have got a quick video of the setup. Do you want me to show you that one?
Yeah. You just need to share your screen again, Karen.
Yeah. Okay. When you first log in, or when you pay effectively to join, you get a welcome on board email. That it does initially pick up the name from the credit card that you put in. So we've created as part of the login the option to change the name, as you'll notice on some credit cards it might be Mrs. K Richardson or something like that. So when you initially log in, pay for it, you'll get a welcome on board. You can set your own password in there and put whatever name you want to be known as on the actual system itself. That then sets you up as the main admin member on the system itself. At that stage, then you're taken into a basic login screen here, which can be amended and it can be altered as you go down the line. So if you change your company name, you change your logo, all that can be altered. You would actually put your logo in here. I've just missed this bit and I come back to it after to show that if you don't do the setup properly, it won't let you proceed with forms. So the setup is quite an integral part of it. We discussed profit and loss variance. So if you've got a variance that you want staff to review, if there's any difference between 1 year's overheads and another, then obviously you would put your tolerances in there. And you need to have more than one person set up within it, because obviously a form filler can't review their own form under the concept of this scheme here. So you would add your team members at this stage. Again, you can go back, add further team members or delete them, or resend reminders for passwords as you would in any other type of software. And your 3 users. Company admin is the main person. The reviewer is the person who completes forms and reviews forms. And a member is just somebody who would complete a form. So there's just 3 types of individuals. And they have to verify themselves. So they would get an email to say, please verify yourself as the user. Just show you the second one, which shows you putting the logo in. You'll notice on the first one, we didn't put the logo in, so it won't let you proceed and create forms until you actually upload a logo and save it into the system. Save your logo, and then it will say you can now start creating forms. And you've got the options there for your profile, change your password, change your company settings, amend your variances, and add new users. Your home page is the dashboard that we talked about that shows how many forms are incomplete. And here you've now got the option to create your first form and basically run through. And as I say, the final accounts review one is just a checklist. It just says, have you got final set of accounts on file? Have you got a final tax computation, etc. on file? Okay.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. So we talked briefly, or you've talked as we've been going through, Karen, briefly around roadmap and things that you've got in development. Is there anything you want to point out specifically that you're thinking about doing, or you've already got plans to do?
One thing we're thinking of doing is perhaps doing a KPI sheet so that it automatically does the gross profit, net profit, return on debtors, all your standard KPIs by the staff member inputting the data and then it doing the automatic calculation. So you'd have a set of KPIs on file. So that's one thing that the IT work's looking at. The other thing I think is as around staff appraisals, whether we pull out any of that information for use on staff appraisals, really, as of your 6-month or annual reviews for staff.
Excellent, thank you. And then price, Karen, how much is the investment?
It's $495 plus VAT, and we are offering a discount for SOCSAP members or Accountants Mastermind members. Sorry, I'm in the dark ages there.
That's all right. So it's £495 plus the VAT with a 10% discount coupon thing as a member of the Accountants Mastermind or somebody that's watching this video connected with the Accountants Mastermind. What do you get for that $495, Karen?
That's full access to everything in there for however many team members you've got. So there's no limit on team members, no limit on the number of reviews that can be done, and no limit on obviously the number that you save. The other thing that we will drop into this shortly is the ability to delete forms if you want. So if you're getting too many on there, you might choose only to keep a certain number. We've kept that on at the time being because obviously until we develop the audit of whether we want to retain the data of the audit corrections for staff training purposes, once you delete the form, the audit trail's gone. So, but basically as many forms as you want to complete, as many staff members, either reviewers or fillers in of forms as you want. And just, all the forms. I mean, we worked it out that if you've got sort of 400 or 500 members, 5 or 6 team members, each sheet's probably costing you about 7p, something like that. So from a process of review point of view and knowing that staff members are there and not wasting your charge out time and asking the same old question as a wages control account being done, does it balance? It is quite cost effective. Our staff love it actually. They do like it. The feedback we've had from them, and they've been using it now not in this form, but in the form prior to us developing it, is that they feel like they do the job quicker because they're not getting things missed. So they're not having to do more work when it comes back because they've already done the majority of the work. And I think it also gives them the ability to sit back and appraise what they've done. We recommend that they do the forms at the end. You can do them as you're going through the job, but I think you get more out of it if you do it at the end because they're then learning a review process of their own work themselves.
So that's $495 less the discount.
Yeah.
For unlimited users and unlimited company.
Yeah.
And is that $495? Is it a month, a year, a life?
A year.
$495 a year. That's all right. Just to give people absolute clarity over where you're at. So $495 a year, less than 10% discount as a community member. And then the last question: is there a trial period? So can we play before we pay, so to speak?
We haven't done a trial period on it, mainly because it's not complicated. It's quite simple in what needs to be done. There's no rocket science about it from that point of view. It's just quite a comprehensive checklist and form. And obviously, we just don't feel that there's any benefit in having a trial period for it.
Okay, brilliant. And I would imagine, and I don't want to put words in your mouth now, but if somebody invested 495 quid and they were shocked by the fact that they couldn't use it or it didn't work for them or whatever, a quick telephone, you wouldn't want anybody to be upset, Karen, would you? So a quick telephone call, and you just
telephone, we can always cancel it.
Yeah, just cancel it and everybody move on with their lives. So in effect, there is. So in order to sign, and obviously don't go 11 months. Don't go 11 months and then ring Karen
for all those forms and then decide you don't like it.
No, don't do that. Yeah. But if you sign up and have a bit of a play and then you don't like it or it's not for you for whatever reason, then obviously Karen will have a conversation with you about that. So in order to sign up, Karen, somewhere around this video now, it'll either be above me or below me or somewhere to the left or the right, there will be a URL that you will need to go to. They click that link and then all they do is put the details in, put the credit card in, put the discount code in,
Yeah,
and away
one
they
thing
go.
to remember, because of the colour code, and the discount code is on the left-hand side, you'll see it, promotional code. So make sure you don't forget to put that in.
Brilliant. Excellent. And if, as always, if anybody has got any questions that we have not answered during the course of this conversation, please feel free to pop them in the comments, and either I will pop on or I'll chase Karen, and Karen can pop on and answer those questions. We'd be delighted to answer those for you. So that just leaves me to say a quick thank you to Karen for coming along today and for sharing. I know it's something that you've been working on for, well, I'm going to say a number of years. It feels like a very long time.
It was one of my tasks, one of my actions, Simon,
many moons ago.
Completed. Tick.
Many moons ago. So thank you for coming along, Karen, and sharing that. And thank you to you for watching this video. I do hope that you choose to take action. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.